What if a young man had a ring that could rewind time by 57 seconds? Welcome to Cinema Recap. We hope you enjoy this story. The police force is attempting to intercept the plane, and Frank narrates, no one on this plane is likely to survive, and none of these events will take place unless Sig, the person sitting beside him, doesn't cause 10,000 people to lose their lives. People often say that when they come close to death, they see their entire life flash before their eyes. However, Frank experienced this 3 months ago. 3 months prior, Frank be signing up as a ticket collector, but he ended up being late. Fortunately, he received assistance from a coworker named Gerard. After finishing work, Gerard helped Frank again when pressured by their boss. Frank felt good, and as a result, invited Gerard on a date, to which Gerard agreed. On Frank's end, he received equipment from a friend to access the event. His friend also hacked the system by inputting Frank's DNA data into it. However, his friend isn't certain if the plan will work because the system is rather complex. Next, Frank chose to believe his friend and entered the event to investigate. Although he almost didn't make it at first, in the end, he managed to enter. When Frank impersonated an official and entered the event, after a while, Anton arrived for real. Frank, fearing he might get caught, hid at first. However, Anton approached Frank. Frank then claimed to be a blogger who had secretly infiltrated the event, and Anton silenced him and turned to ask the security guards, "Who is this, and why are they here?" Just as Frank gazed at Anton's ring, he noticed the brightness of the guard's face starting to shine. Anton turned back and asked. Frank didn't have a chance to respond. Anton, called to the stage, instructed Frank to wait there, not to go anywhere. When Anton spoke on stage, he revealed that he had developed this equipment, known as the Tri-Brand, which enhances everyone's health by decoding DNA and tailoring health plans for each individual. Today, Anton introduced the latest model, which boasts cutting-edge technology, so no medical equipment is required to treat illnesses anymore. Everyone applauded, except for one couple. Meanwhile, a young military officer took out an electric shock device and used it on another officer, then stormed inside to harm Anton, as they were opposed to this technology. Frank, witnessing this, intervened and saved Anton's life. After the assailant was apprehended, Anton came over to express his gratitude and rewarded Frank with an apprenticeship. But it would be on another day. After Frank had given his statement to the police, he surreptitiously looked at the ring that had fallen. Frank picked it up and examined it. It had a gem and could turn back time to a point when Frank was speaking to the police again. This left Frank greatly perplexed. On Frank's end, while waiting for Gerard, he examined the ring and realized that it had the power to turn back time to the past, but only for 57 seconds, and he would have to wait for the gem to return to its original color for it to work again. While Frank was still in amazement, Gerard arrived. This revealed that Gerard had an interest in drawing, whereas Frank was a blogger who wrote about the impact of technology on health. After Frank and Gerard talked it over and got along well, she agreed to go to Frank's room. However, while in the process of getting more intimate, Gerard noticed Frank's bag. Frank was afraid she might find something, so he decided to turn back time. He placed the bag in the closet, but Gerard went on to see a picture of another girl. Frank turned back time again, but Gerard confronted him once more because she wanted to make him more jealous.
Your toes.
You think that's weird, right?
So, Frank had to turn back time once more and redo everything until Gerard was satisfied. From the couple who attended the product launch event, both were part of Sig's company, which was a competitor of Anton. So when they heard the news that Frank had saved Anton, they requested the right side to investigate whether it was a staged scene. In the morning, as Gerard was happily teasing Frank, saying he seemed to understand everything he did, a tow truck came to take away Frank's car. He tried to turn back time to stop it, but it was unsuccessful, leaving Frank frustrated. While Frank was complaining to Gerard, not knowing how he would make money to get his car back, he saw an advertisement and came up with an idea. So, in the following days, Frank went to a casino and used the ring to turn back time repeatedly. Frank guessed correctly and received a substantial amount of gold. Frank didn't realize it, but the right side of Sig was keeping an eye on him. Later, when Frank got his car back, he turned it into a new one, and he continued to play in the casino repeatedly. The casino owner began to suspect that Frank was using some kind of trick, but they couldn't catch him. So when Frank was about to head back, he took the gang along. He turned back time, but it didn't save him, and he eventually had to throw the money away. Just when he thought he might survive this time, at that moment, the right side extended a helping hand, and, in the end, the casino owner let Frank go. After a long time of trying to coax the information out of Frank, the right side asked, "How do you cheat in the casino?" But Frank refused to reveal his secret. The right side then got to the point, saying that Sig wanted to meet him to help write news about the company, as lately, Sig's company had only been getting negative press. Frank realized it was about Sig's company's product, which caused addiction and resulted in many deaths. He initially denied it, but the right side handed him a business card. Next, when Jera saw a picture of a girl on Frank's notebook, she asked him about it. Frank revealed that the girl in the picture wasn't his girlfriend, but his twin sister who had passed away. She was the owner of the bag, and the picture Jera had seen made her wonder when she had seen it. Luckily, Frank managed to explain himself in time and went on to tell the story of his sister's accident, how she had taken Sonestrin to relieve her pain. It worked well at first, but after some time, she got addicted and people died because of the drug. Sonestrin was Sig's product, and it caused tens of thousands of deaths. This was the reason Frank was working in this field. He used an alias and faked his IP address to avoid detection by Sig's company. When Frank learned that Jera liked drawing, he bought her some art supplies, making her very happy. At the same time, while Frank was showing Jera the car he had just purchased, he received a call from Anton, who wanted to arrange for Frank to apprentice. When Frank arrived, Anton handed him the finest model as a gift for Frank and Jera. Besides knowing Frank's history thoroughly, Anton had a partner and was dedicated to creating Atri brands aimed at preserving people's well-being in the future. He believed that by merging quantum particles he had experimented with and AI, it could entirely eliminate accidents, thereby averting injuries, could rewind time by 57 seconds. Frank, on the other hand, was driven by the desire to set things right, particularly for his late sister. Consequently, he decided to meet with Sig, unearth evidence, and expose the truth about the severe side effects of Sonestrin, a drug responsible for the deaths of tens of thousands. But Frank declined to write accolades to enhance the reputation of Sig's company. He was determined not to gain any benefits from the company responsible for his sister's demise. Nevertheless, Sig employed Frank on a one-year contract, which left Frank feeling frustrated. As Sig, who had been recording everything on blackmail, became more uncertain, curious about why Frank had refused. She wondered if Frank knew something about the future. Later, after Frank and Jera moved into their new home, they received an invitation from Sig to have fun together. Sig insisted that they must not wear the Tri brand when they visited. Although both understood, Frank managed to gamble and win some money while playing at Sig's place. However, Sig and her right hand were upset, but they kept their feelings to themselves. When Frank was dancing with Jera, he spotted Anton's bodyguard entering the scene. However, when he looked again, he had disappeared. Frank, who was afraid of being caught stealing the ring, secretly removed it while Jera was speaking to Sig. Suddenly, a man came in and brutally attacked Sig and followers, and Jera was caught up in the chaos. Frank was shocked and tried to travel back in time to save Jera. Sig, who survived, thought Frank was a hero who had saved everyone. Later, while Jera wanted Frank to attend her art show, she received a report that the man who had intended to assassinate Sig was the husband of a female employee of Sig who had committed suicide due to the rumors from Sonestrin. On behalf of Frank, he approached the female employee's left hand to extract information. He told her it was for an article to restore the company's reputation. The hesitant woman decided to report this to Sig. Sig handed over the female employee's information, but it contained no real data. Sig thanked him for saving her life and invited him to a bar. When Frank expressed his gratitude and agreed to have a drink with Sig, he started feeling intoxicated. Sig took the opportunity to capture the moment on video. Later, Frank returned home and apologized to Jera for missing the art exhibition due to a meeting. Jera, who was with Anton, admired his work and bought it all. Before Anton departed, he casually mentioned that he never expected Frank to save Seek. After Anton left, Frank and Jera had an argument. From Jera's perspective, Frank seemed to care only about money and had no intention of seeking revenge on Seek. Furthermore, Jera doubted that Frank's help for Seek was entirely selfless. She slapped Frank, and they both fell into the water. In that moment, Jera unintentionally grabbed the ring. When Frank rewound time, he found himself back with Jera in the ring. Jera was shocked and questioned Frank about what was happening. She wondered if Frank had ever used the ring on her. As Jera suspected that her feelings for Frank might have been manipulated by the ring, she got angry and left. Frank realized that their relationship was good because they genuinely used the ring. Frank consulted the left hand, suspecting that she might have stored evidence in the safe. He threatened the left hand to get the safe code for the first time. When she begged for help, he rewound time again. However, he failed the second time when he accidentally pressed her hand on the button, revealing the code. So, he rewound time once more and succeeded in obtaining the code. Then he went back a fourth time to enter the code, but she lied to him again. So he had to rewind time for the fifth time and threaten her until she finally revealed the real code. When he rewound time for the sixth time and entered the correct code, he waited for her to come back and attempt to steal the evidence, which she intended to blackmail all the employees with. Afterward, he called his friends for help in exposing her, but they initially refused. However, when they saw the amount of money involved, they were shocked and decided to join the cause. After Frank apologized to Jera and she agreed to provide the funds and power to cover up the situation, he prepared his escape and documented everything to broadcast live for his friends to reveal. At that moment, everyone found out that Sick had instructed his right hand to stage the murder of a female employee to blame her for the death related to Zonistan. Anton, who had been watching, was highly satisfied. As for Frank, after seeing everything going according to the plan, he attempted to escape. However, before he could successfully escape, his right hand restrained him, and he was not alone, as Jera was also captured. Moreover, Jera didn't blame or get angry with Frank, but admired what he had done. Frank told her to put on the ring, and she followed his instructions. It allowed her to escape, find a police car, and signal for help. Seek ordered everyone to get on the plane quickly. In the end, the police saw that the plane was about to take off, so they shot at the landing gear, causing the aircraft to malfunction. At that moment, Seek realized that Frank could time travel and attempted to take the ring from him to make it his own. Frank reluctantly agreed since he had no other choice. Seek was very anxious and used the ring to force the plane not to crash. However, efforts were in vain. When Jera and the police arrived at the crash site, they found Seek had lost life, but Frank, his right hand, his left hand, survived. During that moment, Anton also came to see both of them. Frank attempted to apologize to Anton for finding the ring, but he refused to return it. He then discovered that Anton had intentionally kept the ring to test Frank, as explained by the AI known as Bonnie. In fact, Bonnie was an AI that analyzed that Frank was the right person to hold the ring and help develop time travel technology. Anton proposed that Frank join the development, but Frank declined because it was just as dangerous as Zonistan. Therefore, he decided to destroy the ring. This made Anton want Frank to join the project even more. He believed that Frank, who had just proven himself, wouldn't be afraid to refuse and would make the world a better place. Frank agreed, and they left with Jera. In summary, it was all a test by Anton to see if Frank was suitable to help develop time travel technology, as they demonstrated by using the time-traveling ring.